Hey guys, today I am going to teach you how to make two different kinds of herb-infused balms. I chose to make a peppermint and lavender infused balm as well as a rose and chamomile infused balm because I personally suffer from headaches, so the peppermint and lavender is going to help with the headaches and you would just apply it on the temples, and then the rose and chamomile is more of just a general soothing calming balm that you can use before bedtime, before meditation, in the bath, however you want to use that. So you're going to need 2 mason jars. They don't have to be purple. You're going to need lids with them as well. They also don't have to be this size, they can be the smaller ones. You're going to need a cheesecloth because you're going to need to strain the oil out of the herb when they're done being infused. You're going to need oil, which I don't have out here on the counter, but you can use olive oil, almond oil, avocado oil, any kind of carrier oil will work. Scissors you'll need just for cutting your cheesecloth. I have a 1/4 cup measuring cup out because that's about the ratio that we'll use when we get down to actually melting our beeswax and the oil together. You're going to need also 2 containers to put the balm in at the end. You're going to need the herbs themselves. Here's the peppermint, here is chamomile, some lavender, and then some rose. And you can see them up close. I just got them at my local natural food store. You could probably find them online as well. So this is just left over from what I had after I already did my infusion. You're also going to need beeswax. So I have this little really cute little square guy here. You're going to melt it down, so in the end it doesn't really matter what it starts off as. But there's this kind. You can also use the little pebble beads. You can use either one. Lastly, you're going to need some sort of a saucepan. You can do a makeshift double broiler if you'd like, where you would just get a pot of water boiling and then put a metal bowl on top of that. I chose to just dedicate a saucepan or a skillet to melting down my beeswax for balm making. So I recommend you do the same thing because you don't want to be cooking with something and have beeswax remnants in your food. That would be no fun. So step 1, which I already have done here, and that's what these are, is going to be taking your herbs and putting them in the clean, very dry jar. You want to make sure it's dry. This is a big deal because you don't want it to be growing any mold. If you do end up noticing mold growing, you're going to have to toss it and start over. So we're going to take some of our peppermint, and it's just a rough estimate. I did a couple handfuls. You're going to toss it in. You're going to take a couple handfuls of the lavender. You're going to toss it in to 1 jar. Then you're going to fill that with oil. So I did a combination of olive oil and avocado oil. And again, no real measurements, it's just a rough recipe. Came out to look like so. I know the jar is kind of dark, so you probably can't see it too well. But my oil's in there as well as my peppermint and my lavender. And then you're going to do the same thing with your rose and your chamomile. And this is what turned out to be with the rose and the chamomile. How you infuse it is you're going to lid it, make sure it's nice and tight, and you're just going to set it for 2 weeks in a sunny spot. After the 2-week period, you're good to go and you're ready to make your balm, which is what we're going to be doing today in this video. You're going to get your saucepan and you're going to basically melt down the wax with the oil, and the ratio is going to be about 2 tablespoons of beeswax to approximately a 1/4 cup, which is why I have that measuring cup, of your infused oil. So that's what the cheesecloth comes in for, is straining your herbs out of the oil. So we're going to cut it. I bought this at Target. You could probably get them in lots of places, but it comes in a long strip like this, so that's why. Also you need the scissors. You're going to want to cut a piece off, and let's start with the peppermint and lavender. You're just going to place this like so, and I'm just going to pour it on in, and then I'm going to just squeeze every little bit of oil out that I can possibly get out of my herbs here. This is going to be a slightly messy process. We are going to take it on over to the stove so we can melt it down with our beeswax. I got my saucepan, I've got my 1/4 cup of oil in there and the beeswax, and got it over low heat, and we're just going to melt it on down. Alrighty, so we're back over here. It's all nice and melted and combined. And now we're just gonna pour it off into one of our clean, dry containers. Looks like this, and see how I spilled some and it's already starting to harden. So that's the beeswax at work. So then we're just going to let this cool. You're gonna lid it and you're gonna store it in a cool, dry place. And you're gonna follow the same exact instructions for your rose and chamomile one. Thanks.